I was cutting through the underground parking garage when I saw it. My ex's sedan was rocking violently on its suspension. Behind the tinted, reinforced glass, I heard a muffled, tear-choked scream from my best friend. No, please, stop. Any normal person would have pulled out their phone to record the affair. But me? I'm the ultimate ride-or-die bestie. A hot surge of adrenaline slammed into my brain, bypassing all logic. You filthy animal. Forcing yourself on my girl in broad daylight? Baby, hang on, I'm coming for you. I didn't hesitate. I snatched the fire extinguisher from the wall and went full-on berserk, hammering the heavy canister against the windshield of his million-dollar ride. Crack. Smash. Crash. Safety glass sprayed like diamonds. The screaming inside turned into a terrified shriek. Before the two naked bodies inside could even process the assault, I jammed the nozzle of the dry chemical extinguisher through the shattered window and pulled the trigger. Fush! A suffocating, blinding cloud of white powder instantly filled the cabin. The air turned into a choking chemical nightmare. Cough, cough, gag. Hacking and retching, they finally kicked the doors open. Two pale, shivering figures, looking like deep-fried shrimp covered in flour, tumbled onto the concrete, scrambling for cover. The garage smelled of harsh chemicals and raw panic. The guy wiped the white dust from his eyes, his pupils bloodshot with pure, unadulterated rage. He locked eyes with me, and his jaw dropped. You lunatic! Have you lost your mind? I'm your... Before he could finish, I launched a brutal kick squarely into his chest, sending him sprawling back into the wreckage. Shut your mouth. A rapist trying to talk back? Security. Get me some rope. We've got a perverted freak attacking someone down here. My voice echoed off the concrete walls like a siren. It was rush hour at the corporate plaza. The blaring car alarms and my frantic screeching drew a crowd of onlookers like moths to a flame. Phones were out, flashes popping like a paparazzi frenzy. My heart hammered against my ribs. I snatched a grimy, sweat-stained security guard's parka and lunged forward. Baby, stay with me. I've got you. I wrapped my best friend, Elena, in the heavy, moldy jacket, cocooning her like a mummy. I pulled the collar tight, so tight it covered her nose and mouth. Elena thrashed inside the fabric, muffled sounds of MMPH, erupting from the coat. I pinned her down, turned to the gathering crowd of lens-wielding vultures, and let out a sob that tore through the air. Don't record this. Please, show some decency. Give her some dignity. I knelt on the floor, cradling the mummy in my arms, tears streaming down my face. She's the victim. Do you know who she is? She was just voted Teacher of the Year in this city. She's supposed to be teaching children tomorrow. If her students' parents see this, how will she ever stand in front of a class again? To think she was assaulted by this monster. God have mercy. The words Teacher of the Year hit the crowd like a shockwave. The laughter died, replaced by gasps of genuine horror. Wait, that's her? The one from the news. That's sick. In the middle of the day. Is he even human? Someone break his jaw. A few hot-headed employees were already rolling up their sleeves, ready to jump the guy. Inside the parka, Elena was fighting for air, trying to push her head out to explain, but I wailed even louder, drowning out her muffled cries. Baby, don't be scared. I don't care that you're dirty. Nobody will ever know it was you. As long as I'm breathing, I won't let that scum's filth stain your reputation. That was when Marcus finally cleared the dust from his lungs. He crawled halfway out of the car, his face white, his features twisted in fury. Sarah, are you blind? It's me. I'm your boyfriend. The entire room, no, the whole garage went dead silent. Every head swiveled between us, hungry for the drama. I stood frozen for a beat, acting like the betrayal had just shattered my soul. Then I let out a scream that was even more pathetic and piercing than the last. Aya! I lunged at Marcus and swung my arm with everything I had. Slap! The sound was like a gunshot. The force sent a cloud of white powder flying off his face. You have the nerve to call yourself my boyfriend? I was shaking, my finger inches from his nose, tears pouring down. How could you do this to my best friend? Do you even have a soul? Marcus was reeling, clutching his cheek, his teeth bared. Are you crazy? She was the one who seduced me. Slap. Another strike, even harder this time. I felt the skin break at the corner of his mouth. You filthy liar. I won't let you drag her name through the mud. I turned to the crowd, sobbing. People, judge for yourselves. My best friend loathes cheaters. She's a woman of absolute integrity. She's going to be my maid of honor next month, for heaven's sake. You think she'd throw her life away for someone like him? I locked eyes with Marcus, my gaze filled with the jagged edge of betrayal. Marcus, you're so desperate to save your own skin you destroy an innocent woman's reputation? You're not even a man. You're trash. The crowd swayed. Someone muttered, "Yeah, that's twisted. Who hits on their best friend's bride-to-be? He definitely drugged or forced her. Look at her. She's so terrified, she can't even speak." The sympathy in the room was palpable. Marcus was officially the villain. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus was thrashing in the back seat, shouting at the arriving officers like he'd found salvation. "Officer, it's a setup. It was consensual. This crazy woman assaulted me. I want to press charges." Still lying? I stepped in front of Elena like a mother hen shielding her chicks. I pointed straight at the back seat of his wrecked ride. "Officers, look under the seat. That's the evidence." A cop peered inside with a frown, pulling out a pair of fuzzy pink handcuffs and a leather crop with a pair of sterile evidence tweezers. A wave of knowing titters rippled through the crowd. Even the cops looked uncomfortable, their expressions shifting from duty to disgust. I pointed at the items, my entire body trembling. "Why are you laughing? This is sick. My friend is a teacher. She doesn't even wear skirts above her knees. She's the most conservative person I know." I glared at Marcus, who was being dragged out and pinned against the hood. "Marcus, you're a deviant. You forced her to use these? Is that how you treat a woman? You're a monster." The crowd stopped laughing. A respectable woman wouldn't touch that gear. He had to be the sick one. Marcus turned purple. "Those are just toys. It was consensual. That's our business." "Business?" I gasped, turning to the police with eyes full of tears. "Officer, who uses a whip in a healthy relationship. Please, save her. She's been screaming for mercy." The police officer looked at the gear, then back at the hysterical crowd. The pressure was on. "Enough. Save it for the station." Click. The handcuffs went on Marcus. He was shoved into a cruiser, shouting into the void. I stood there, clutching a shivering Elena, refusing to give a statement. "Officer, can we get her to the hospital first? She inhaled so much dust, and she's in a state of severe shock. She needs medical care now." I squeezed the cop's hand, my voice cold as ice. "We want a full medical exam, a gynecological report. We're going to sue this animal for every cent he has." Elena went rigid at the word exam. The ambulance roared toward the city hospital. Once on the stretcher, Elena was finally freed from the coat. She was hacking, coughing up white dust, her face a mask of trauma. When I reached for her purse, she froze, her eyes widening in sheer terror. "Oh, baby, don't move. The doctor said your airways are scorched." I gently pinned her hand down and snatched her phone. Elena was crying, shaking her head, her throat raw and failing. "You want to call your parents, don't you? Don't worry, I'll show them exactly what this monster did to you." I swiped her phone across her face. Beep. Face ID unlocked. Elena squeezed her eyes shut, her body shuddering. A nurse hurried over. "Ma'am, stop moving. You're on in 4. It's okay. She's just panicked. She wants her mom." I cooed to the nurse. I turned my back to Elena and dialed the number of her uptight, image-obsessed parents. The moment they picked up, I didn't say a word. I just started wailing. "Auntie, something happened to Elena. Marcus, that animal. I shouldn't have let him near her. I gave them just enough, assault, undressed, police are here, to trigger their worst nightmares." Every word was a needle to their pride. 20 minutes later, they burst into the ER. Her father looked like he'd aged 10 years, his knuckles white around his walking cane, his face a storm of rage. "Dad." "Mom." Elena shrank under the blankets. Before they could speak, I dropped to my knees. "I'm sorry. It's my fault. I didn't see him for the beast he was." He dragged her into the garage, the handcuffs. If I hadn't arrived, he would have destroyed her. Her mother started wailing, clutching her daughter. "My poor baby. What kind of karma is this? How are you supposed to get married now?" Her father banged his cane on the floor. "Where is he? I'll kill him. And you, why were you even with a man like that? Do you know what this does to our reputation?" Elena looked ready to faint. She opened her mouth to speak, to defend herself, but I lunged up, clapping a hand over her mouth. "Doctor, get in here. She's hallucinating. She needs a sedative, now." The staff rushed over. What's happening? She's in shock. She's trying to defend her attacker. He's completely broken her mind. In the chaos, I leaned in close to her ear, my whisper sounding like a velvet-lined threat. Baby, take a good look at your father's cane. She went rigid. Think carefully, I breathed. If you say it was forced, you're the victim. Everyone will pity you. Your parents will shield you. But if you say it was consensual, knowing how much your father cares about his image, do you think he'll stop at just shouting? He might beat you to death right here in this room. I paused, my voice chilling. And tomorrow, the headlines will read, Teacher of the Year caught in affair. You'll be ruined. Your parents' entire legacy will burn. So, what's it going to be? I felt her hot tears hit my skin. I patted her back like I was putting a child to sleep. Choose. The room went silent, save for her mother's sobbing. Elena stopped fighting. She looked past my shoulder at her father, whose eyes were bloodshot and murderous. The nightmare of her childhood. She squeezed her eyes shut. 2 lines of tears tracked through the dust on her cheeks. I don't remember. Her voice was a raspy whisper of defeat. I'm scared. My head hurts. Perfect. I straightened up, wiped my eyes, and turned to her parents with a look of ironclad resolve. Don't worry. I'll make sure he pays for every bit of this. No mercy. With the parents handled, I dragged the doctor back in. Record everything. Every bruise, every mark. Behind the curtain, Elena had to strip. Her neck, her collarbone, her inner thighs, they were covered in red marks, passionate hickeys he'd left earlier. The young doctor looked away, embarrassed. I erupted into fresh tears, snapping high-res photos. God, he's like a rabid dog. Look at what he did to her. Elena tried to cover herself. I pulled her hands away. Don't. This is evidence. This is the proof we need to put him away for life. I pointed to a bruise on her chest. See this, doctor? That's bruising from manual pressure. That's battery. Make sure it goes in the report. The doctor nodded, scribbling it down. Elena bit her lip until it bled, her body trembling. Stay still, baby, I whispered, while aiming my phone at her most private spots. The more evidence we have, the longer he rots in a cage. You're doing this for justice. I felt a sense of satisfaction. Even if he didn't get life, these photos would ensure Elena never lived a normal life again. I tucked my phone away, patting her head. There. He's finished. Just then, the sharp click-clack of heels echoed down the hallway. Marcus's mother had arrived. Marcus's mother was a walking display of wealth, dripping in gold and designer labels. She stormed in and, without a word, swung her Birkin bag with enough force to floor an ox. It caught me square on the shoulder, the metal buckle biting into my skin. I didn't try to dodge. I let the momentum carry me to the floor, where I curled into a ball and screamed. Help! The rapist's family is attacking a witness. They're trying to silence me. The hallway erupted. Nurses and patients crowded the doorway, phones recording the spectacle. Marcus's mother turned pale. She scrambled to slam the door shut, cutting off the audience. She reached into her bag and flicked a check at Elena's face like it was trash. Stop the theatrics. How much do you want? 5 million. Take the money and change your statement. Tell them it was consensual. Elena's eyes flickered to the check. 5 million. If she took it, she could leave this town. She could start over somewhere where nobody knew her face. But I wasn't about to let that happen. I scrambled up faster than a strike of lightning and snatched the check from the air. Money? You think you can buy my friend's dignity with a slip of paper? Before Elena or the mother could react, I tore the check into tiny shreds. No, Elena gasped, watching the pieces flutter to the floor like confetti. She looked like she was mourning a lost fortune. I gathered the scraps and shoved them right back into the mother's face. Take your dirty money and get out. My friend is an educator. Her integrity is priceless. You could offer us 5 billion and we still wouldn't bow to monsters like you. The mother was stunned, staring at the confetti on the floor, her face twisting in pure rage. You're insane. Is 5 million not enough? Name your price. I stood tall, a wall of granite in front of Elena's bed. I don't want your money. I want justice. I want your son to rot in a cell. Get out of here before I call the police back. What she didn't know was that my phone was recording the entire exchange. That night, an article titled, Wealthy Heir Rapes Woman, Evil Mother Attempts to Buy Silence, went viral, complete with the recording of her offering the bribe. Hashtag Marcus Group scandal and hashtag money can't buy justice trended overnight. The family's carefully curated charitable image shattered, plunging them into a PR nightmare. But that wasn't enough. Baby, you're in no shape to go to school. I'll take care of your leave, and I'll make sure the school understands exactly what happened. Early the next morning, I showed up at her elementary school, eyes red and puffy, clutching Elena's ID badge. I didn't head for the principal's office. I went straight to the teacher's lounge.
It was break time.
Teachers and a few parents were everywhere. I threw myself onto Elena's desk, wailing so hard I nearly knocked over her succulent. Oh, Elena, you're in such a tragic state, the teachers gasped, swarming around. Is that Sarah? What happened to Elena? Why isn't she here? I wiped my tears, my voice breaking but loud enough for every parent to hear. Teachers, parents.
I'm so sorry.
Elena, she was kidnapped yesterday in the parking garage. She was violated by a monster. She's barely even human anymore. What? The room went silent. I dropped the bomb. Even though the animal was arrested, Elena is suffering from severe psychological trauma. She screams whenever she sees a man. She's completely broken. I grabbed the senior coordinator's hands, my tone desperate. She's the teacher of the year. She loves these kids. Please, don't fire her. Even though her body has been tainted, her heart is still pure. I emphasized the word tainted with a heavy, deliberate pause. I beg you, don't shun her. Even if some parents might be concerned about a teacher who is that, please show some mercy. The parents' expressions shifted from concern to visible disgust. Wait, she was assaulted? Is she even stable enough to be around children? Yeah. What if she has a breakdown in class? What if she's infected? The more I defended her, the more they recoiled. A few parents were already typing into their group chats, demanding she be removed. 30 minutes later, the principal pulled me aside, looking frantic. Miss Sarah, given the circumstances and the public sentiment, we strongly suggest Elena takes an indefinite leave or resigns. 10 minutes later, I walked out with her resignation letter, sighing at the sky. Oh, baby. The school system is just so heartless. I returned to Elena's apartment. Her parents had already moved her back in. It was deathly quiet. Elena was huddled on the bed, her fingers flying across her phone screen. I lunged forward and snatched it. Baby. The doctor said no screens. I fended her off as she tried to grab it back. On the screen was a private message from the Marcus Group's legal team. Ms. Elena, if you drop the charges, we will pay you $10 million, cover your travel, and set you up abroad for life. Elena was shrieking, her hair a mess, tears streaming down her face. Give it back, please. I want to take the deal. I just want to leave.
Slap.
I backhanded her, sending her sprawling onto the bed. She went silent, stunned. Elena, have you lost your mind? I shoved the phone in her face. They're paying to turn you into a commodity. If you take that money, you're admitting you're a prostitute. You'll be the town whore for the rest of your life. I didn't. I just want out, she sobbed. Out? You think you can outrun your own shadow? I gripped her shoulders, shaking her. Dignity is priceless. We don't take blood money from a rapist. Without waiting for an answer, I whipped the phone into the glass of water on the nightstand. Gurgle. The screen went black. I grabbed her hands, my voice cold and firm. Wake up. That man destroyed you. I'm the only one who cares about you. Now get up. The police are waiting for our statement. The interrogation room was stifling. Marcus sat across from me, wrapped in a thin police blanket, looking like a ghost. He saw his chance and shoved his phone toward the detective, his hands trembling. Officer, I have proof. I have videos. We were talking for months. This was an affair, not rape. He frantically scrolled through messages. Look, nude photos. Look at what she sent me. She seduced me. The detective frowned, clicking on a video. It was explicit. Marcus turned to Elena, his eyes burning with a desperate hope. Elena.
Tell them.
Tell them you were the one who invited me.
No.
Never. I slammed my hands on the table, the bang making the coffee cups jump. I pointed at Marcus, my voice hitting a pitch that echoed down the hall. Officer, deepfake AI technology is everywhere. This is clearly a synthetic fabrication. Marcus looked like he was having a stroke. Are you kidding me? That's literally... Shut up. I cut him off, turning to the detective with a face full of heartbreak. Officer, this is a textbook case of digital extortion. He didn't just break her physically. He's trying to control her mind. That's why she was so afraid to speak up. He was threatening her with these fake, lewd images. I pointed at the video with the confidence of an expert. Look at those pixels. Look at the stiffness of the facial movements. It's an AI generation. You're lying. It's real. Marcus roared, straining against his cuffs. Elena,
Tell them.
that's you. The detective barked. Sit down. I ignored the maniac and turned to Elena, who was huddled in the corner. I took her freezing hands, forcing her to look at me. Baby, don't be afraid. The world might think you were fooling around, but I know the truth. You're the teacher of the year. You're my maid of honor. Why would you ever invite a man like this to hurt you? Unless you were forced, right? I stroked her hand, my voice a soft, hypnotic suggestion. Tell the officer. He used these